Sound awakens something deep within. Welcome to this podcast, a space to slow down, tune in, and return to the song of your soul. So, as we move on to our second segment, I want to ask you, what were your learnings of applying this spiritual knowledge to your real world?
One of the main things are certain shifts that need to happen within your mind. And one thing is, it's the journey of a caterpillar to a butterfly. And in between, there comes a cocoon phase. It's a very, very lonely phase. And nobody is there, only you're in the cocoon. The world doesn't, even if it does exist, you don't want to interact with it. You don't interact with it for the most part. People don't get you, you don't care about it. At the same time, it seems very gloomy and very dark, but that's where the growth is happening. And the moment you come out on the other side, you recognize that you have wings now and you're no longer a caterpillar. And initially, you might fly a little bit here, you might fly a little bit there. But then eventually, your wings get stronger and stronger, and you're able to do a transcontinental migration. But at the same time, you also realize, and you look at you whenever you see a caterpillar, you see yourself growing from that caterpillar into the cocoon and having the metamorphosis and then transforming into a butterfly. What I've learned is spirituality is, or our human life is like a flower. And the flower needs to bloom in all the petals. And by that, I mean your relationship is one petal, relationship with your spouse or your children. Again, you can separate them as different petals. Or if relationship is one level, your health is one level, wealth is one level, then realization, all of that is different levels. Interestingly, that's how when I say the ancients, today, when your name is Lakshmi, it's amazing. When people use the word Lakshmi, they only associate it with wealth,
Right.
which is very true.
Mhm.
But then again, today is the 8th day, which is also 8 is again an important number here. And Lakshmi is Ashtalakshmi. There are 8 kinds of Lakshmi. So true wealth is not just Dhana Lakshmi as in money wealth,
Mhm.
but there are 8 other things which include, like, I think, Dhanya Lakshmi, which is about food, Santana Lakshmi, about family, Veera Lakshmi, strength, then Artha Lakshmi, which is Artha, spiritual knowledge. Then there is Gaja Lakshmi. So Veera is victory, Gaja Lakshmi is strength. And there might be 2 more. But in a sense,
Vidya Lakshmi, I
Vijay
think.
Lakshmi is victory, Gaja Lakshmi, then uh,
Vidya Lakshmi.
pro- Vidya Lakshmi, right? That's knowledge. Artha is your true, and I think the ultimate one is Artha, which is your true knowledge of yourself. And that's the wisdom. And so all need to be opened up. Now, spirituality is a different level. So now, as we were saying, as we are going to have this, so I had some certain things to kind of show you.
Oh.
Now, when you see this flower,
Uh-huh.
you would say this is a good flower. It's a good flower because all its petals have blossomed.
Right.
And if you have some petals that don't blossom, then it's not a flower that you would put it to even give it to someone or put it near it, offer it to God.
Right.
Why? Because we feel it is incomplete. Now, what is happening in modern world is people are just focusing on material and material things, that they forget all the different layers of a flower. Now, what spirituality is when you start to look at it, it's the same flower in a different form, a
Oh.
different stage. You see how this is like a pine cone that starts to rise from inside.
Right.
And it's interesting that it has got a yellow tip on the top, yellow flowers.
Yes.
And you're also seeing that different petals start to eventually they fall down. So if you're seeing this, right? So it's the same flower. And then sort of like the next stage, the petals just keep falling down to eventually all of them become seeds for the next life. And it's multiple lives. And this is what nature teaches us. But it is just we have to spend time with nature. And spending time with nature shows us all these things. So then, how I look at spirituality and all of that is how do I get myself to bloom in all directions? So the thing is not just about one particular thing. And so then I'm looking and saying, how do I, and this is where in different traditions, right, you'll have like a pine cone kind of thing shown. You'll say the pineal gland, all of this. Again, it's all replicated
Right.
In your real life. And so then it's about how do you apply this knowledge where you are? And how do you start to trust the universe? Because when you are divine, it takes time. So a good example, two things which I can think of was um, there was one particular moment wherein you know my wife was going to a certain situation in her life, and I still did not have a job then, and so I was dropping her, and she was completely in tears at that point of time. She's like, Niranjan, you need to step up. I need your help. You need to get a job. You need to get a job now. I dropped her. This is 7:30 in the morning. And that's where I just went inside and I said, I need your help now. I believe you. I trust you. Like the universe, God, divine, all of this. I need your help now. You will not believe 11:30 in the afternoon that day, I get a call. And which kind of said, I mean, this was some psychologist I was working with.
Right.
And a story for another time, but long story short, he's like, what are you doing tonight? So I'm thinking he's in Phoenix. So I said, well, should we meet up for dinner or coffee or, I'm free. I can meet you. He said, no, I'm in LA and I need you to fly to LA today. I'm booking your tickets. You tell me what time you're available and I want you to come down and meet me. Now that was very clear. It is not something that could happen because I thought something. No,
Right.
that was not something that I could have planned, even in my vivid dream. As a rational person, that somebody is going to call me out of nowhere and say, I'm going to book your ticket, fly, and come to LA. And I went there. And it was a complete different experience there. It was like, and I was very clear, it was not me. And I was like, this is you, and I am the observer observing this entire act unfold. And eventually, when I come back the next day morning on a flight, and I'm driving back, and then the voice from within kind of says, Did you plan to go to LA? What do you think of the word preparedness, or were you prepared to go to LA? And then I was like, yeah, prepare. Because I didn't plan to go to LA. I mean, that was not even there. I mean, like even till 11:30, that was not even there that I planned to go to LA that day. And then so the voice or the universe explained to me that just as a nation prepares for war, you don't plan for war, you prepare. And anytime you're planning, you're taking off the creative force of the universe. You're trying to force it and it doesn't work. Always be prepared and trust that the universe has got your back and things will work out. I mean, that was one lesson that, again, it's not from a book, it's from a real life that I will never forget. And so I am always prepared. It's almost like I have a bag ready. And it's like, I mean, just odd things during that day. It's like something just told me, you know what, just one shirt, just put and a toothbrush and a bunch of grapes. And I did not even have dinner that entire day, that evening. That guy was eating, but he didn't even offer. I mean, I think he offered food, but I was not even hungry. I didn't even care for food. And I had so much energy. And those grapes, I was looking back at it, it was just like I was just prepared that if I did not have food, I would have it.
You'll have some.
And which I ate at 3 in the morning or something like that. And, but yeah, I mean, so that was one instance wherein the universe clearly showed me how I don't have to do stuff. But then that also led me to letting go a lot of things, that the whole concept of I need to plan, to recognizing that as I'm embracing the divinity within me. Now, another thing, and so this is where Sanatan Dharma comes in. Hinduism, as much as it's being taken out as a religion, is very wrong. Hinduism is a way of life, it is not a religion. And if you see, that is the only, when you say a way of life, why it's not a religion? Because across the table, you can have 8 different people worshiping 8 different forms of divinity. One can be a male divinity, one can be a female, one can be a tree, one can be a bird, one can be an animal. Doesn't matter whether it's a snake or whatever it is, still they're all called Hindu. And there is no fight to say who is the greater one. And anytime that comes, that is where, things are mistaken from their essence.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I learned is accepting that there's divinity in everything, accepting and allowing divinity to work, trusting that whatever is happening for the good, and knowing that that will lead to it. And then the more you start tuning yourself, you will start to see a lot of synchronicities. I mean, your clocks will be 11:22, 22:22, or 10:10, 12:12. Everything, every single time, and every single time I would see that, I would just pause, look at it, and it's like as if the universe is trying to communicate with you or establish that connection. And the moment you start establishing the connection, and that was also this thing, right? We had a conversation before.
Right.
You become in tune with what's going on. We were trying to bridge spirituality and materialism. What are the odds that you're going to call me on a day wherein the moon is exactly half? you know and it's also interesting, you see how the half is, so this is the first half, so you have the half, the half repeats twice when you see, and it's perfect half. And else so there, when you look at it right now, the darkness is fading, and then you're seeing more of light. So now as we go towards a full moon, more of light increases, and then again it starts to go down. So you're using all of these. So in a way, we're using, that's why we said, you know again, that was a sign from the universe. Now using that sign, we're kind of like saying, how do we use it very, very fast? And we are having this conversation, so now we are in a way taking that advantage and spreading this or sharing this with the universe. And this is where the universe acknowledges that you acknowledged it.
That is very beautiful, Anne. Thank you so much for sharing. And your learnings are just spellbound. They always captivate me, and especially the way you narrate it. It's just like I could see a motion picture going on. Thanks for tuning in. Take a deep breath, carry the peace with you, and I will see you next time.